All right. Listener name, ready for a deep dive into a really puzzling case.
Absolutely.
We're talking Jennifer Kesse.
Yeah.
This is a young woman living in Orlando, Florida, successful, had her own condo,
Right.
just living her best life, really,
Hmm.
and then just vanishes. No trace.
It's like the ultimate mystery, right? When someone just disappears.
It really is. And it's not like there's clues right there, like you said, no trace.
Exactly. It's not like we're looking for something obvious. It's like someone just hit the delete button.
And that's what makes this case so strange. It's like her story just stops.
I think these kinds of cases really get to us,
Yeah.
Like we want to believe there's always a reason, always an explanation.
Yeah, it's unsettling because it could happen to anyone.
And it makes you think, what really happened? It's like a puzzle with half the pieces missing.
Well, let's see if we can find some of those missing pieces then.
Okay.
So Jennifer Kesse, she's 24 years old, working in finance, doing really well for herself.
Yeah. Had her whole life ahead of her.
Right. And from what we gather from these articles, she was a very meticulous person, very
Huh?
safety conscious.
And that's what makes it so strange.
Right.
You'd think if anyone was prepared, it'd be someone like her.
Yeah, and you would think that if something did happen, she would have been able to at least try to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just deepens the mystery. You know what I mean?
It really does. So let's go back to January of 2006. It's
Yeah.
a Tuesday the 24th. Jennifer's getting ready for work. She works at Westgate Resorts.
Okay.
So pretty normal, routine morning.
Right. Like it.
And there's evidence she was getting ready. There was a damp towel at her condo. Seems like she showered.
Yeah.
But then nothing. She doesn't show up for work.
And her work is worried, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah. Colleagues, her boyfriend, everyone's calling her phone and it's going straight to voicemail.
Wow.
And remember, she was someone who was always in contact with people, especially her family.
Right. You said she was close with her family?
Called her parents almost every day. So when they didn't hear from her, they knew something was really wrong.
So they went to her condo.
Drove straight from Tampa to Orlando.
Oh, wow.
And when they get there, her car's gone. Her black Chevy Malibu, gone.
So she must have left at some point, but then what happened?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Inside the condo, there was no sign of a struggle. No forced entry.
And nothing seemed out of place.
No. Just that damp towel in her bed wasn't made. Other than that, everything was completely normal.
That's so creepy. It's like she just disappeared into thin air.
Almost like she just stepped out for a minute and never came back.
Okay, so we've got a missing person, no signs of struggle, and a car that's vanished. What did the police find?
Well, they found her car. A day later, parked at another apartment complex. Huntington on the Green.
Get on the green. Okay.
Not abandoned or anything. It was parked neatly like someone was going to come back to it.
Huh. Deliberate, almost.
Exactly. And inside the car, her purse, her phone, everything was still there.
So not a robbery then.
No, which makes you think, what was the motive here? What was the goal?
Okay, so we've got a missing car that turns up, but no Jennifer. What's next?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. Remember how I mentioned the apartment complex where they found Jennifer's car?
Yeah.
They had security cameras.
And there's footage.
There is. But it's not exactly crystal clear. It's grainy. You can barely make out any details.
Right.
But you can see a figure parking her car.
Okay, so someone drove it there, but who?
That's what they're trying to find out. The figure, they're just sitting in the car for a few seconds, and then they get out and walk away.
And that's it. That's all they got.
That's it. They disappear out of frame, and no one's been able to identify them.
Talk about frustrating. Do they know what time this was?
That's the thing. The footage is time-stamped around noon on the 24th.
The same day she disappeared.
Yep. Broad daylight. And this person just melts away. The FBI, they've tried everything. Enhancing the image, analyzing the way the person walks, but nothing.
So they couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman.
The angle of the camera, a fence post blocking the person's face, it's like it was designed to be impossible to figure out.
Oh, man, that's tough. So what did they get from the footage?
They were able to get a height estimate based on the footage and their analysis. Somewhere between 5'3" and 5'5", they think.
Okay, so not much to go on, but it's something. Does this height ring any bells with, like, anyone they're looking at?
Well, that's the thing. Right. Remember how we talked about those construction workers Jennifer had mentioned?
The ones she filed a complaint about? Yeah.
This height range, and even the clothes the figure in the video is wearing, it all kind of fits.
Oh, wow. So those construction workers are definitely still on the table then.
It's like every time you think you might be getting close to something, another possibility pops up.
And the plot thickens.
Yeah.
Classic mystery stuff.
Oh.
What else?
Oh, and it gets weirder. The police brought in a dog to try and track her scent.
Okay.
They took the dog to where her car was found, and guess where it led them?
I'm on the edge of my seat, tell me.
Back to her apartment complex. Mosaic at Millennia.
Wait, so they think that whoever drove her car to that other complex then went to her apartment.
It's a possibility, right? Or maybe it's a red herring. Just another dead end.
This is a wild one. So many twists and turns. But at the center of it all is Jennifer and her family. They must have been going through hell.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where their determination, especially her parents, really comes into play. Remember how we mentioned they had concerns about the police investigation?
Yeah, they thought something was off, right?
They felt like things were being mishandled, that the police were too quick to write it off.
So what did they do?
They were frustrated. They felt like the police were too quick to just say she ran away, that they weren't taking it seriously enough.
And understandably so. I mean, their daughter is missing.
Right. They even went so far as to sue the Orlando Police Department to get access to her case files.
Wow. Did they win?
They did. In 2019, after years of legal battles, a judge granted them access to everything.
Everything. Like what?
We're talking thousands of pages. 16,000 to be exact.
16,000 pages of reports. That's a lot to go through.
Plus audio recordings, video footage. They basically handed over the entire investigation to Jennifer's family.
And what are they hoping to find in all that?
Anything. They hired their own team of investigators to go through it all, trying to find something the police might have missed.
It's got to be like finding a needle in a haystack.
It really does. But that's how determined they are.
So have they found anything? Any new leads?
They haven't released specifics, but they've said that they believe there were flaws in the initial investigation and that they are pursuing new leads.
That's promising, at least. It's been years, but it sounds like they're not giving up.
Not even a little bit. And, it makes you wonder, with all the technology we have now, is there a chance that someday we'll be able to go back and finally see who was driving Jennifer's car that day?
You mean like with facial recognition software and stuff?
Exactly. What if those grainy images, what if they hold the key to unlocking this whole thing?
It would be amazing if, after all this time, technology could provide some answers.
It would be incredible. And think about Jennifer's family, the closure that could potentially bring them.
It's hard to imagine what they've gone through all these years. The not knowing must be unbearable.
It really is a case that sticks with you. It makes you wonder about all the unanswered questions, all the what-ifs. Those construction workers, that inmate who claimed he had information, did any of them know more than they let on? We might never know.
It's a reminder that sometimes, even with all the best efforts, some mysteries just remain unsolved.
And it makes you realize that these stories, they don't just end when the news cycle moves on. There are real people, real families who are living with the consequences every single day.
Absolutely. And in Jennifer's case, even though we might not have all the answers, it's important to keep asking the questions.
Exactly, because you never know. Someone out there might have that one piece of information, that one detail that can make all the difference.
It's a long shot, but sometimes that's all it takes.
Well said. Well, listener name, we've reached the end of another deep dive, and I don't know about you, but this one has left me with more questions than answers. What did you find most surprising about Jennifer's story? Let us know. You can find us on Twitter at